When you have your girls, you're never alone. You get together for coffee, maybe to work out, or just to laugh. We created Hey Girl just for you. Can't wait for you to join us.
Hey everybody, welcome to Hey Girl. I'm your girl Kim with an E, and this is episode 90. If you're joining us for the first time, I want to let you know that Hey Girl is a safe space where you can share your experiences and be affirmed. Let's face it, life can be complex and sometimes overwhelming. That's why we believe in the power of conversation, because knowing you're not alone is what will help you get through. So come on in and tell us that you're here. Say hello in the comments. Happy New Year. Happy Sabbath if you're a Sabbath keeper. Say hello and welcome again. I'm so glad that you're here. I have so much to share, so much to share. Oh, where to begin? It's been a wonderful week. I hope each of you has also had a great week. And I just want to share one of the things that I'm excited about, which is my daughter. I talk a lot about my firstborn, Erin, who is somewhat of a social media sensation. And as you know, she is the artist who created some of our products in the Hey Girl store. And is quite, as I said, the influencer on social media. And recently she has been supported by a company called The Coldest Water. Now, I don't know how many of you are into drinking water and carrying around the insulated bottles. But Hydro Flask was one that we really enjoyed before discovering the coldest water. And it just so happens that they are sponsoring Erin because of all the attention she's been getting on social media. And I just wanted to share with you how cool it is because the bottles are really, really nice. This is one of the small ones, but they have larger ones that keep your drinks cold all day. And if you're interested in that, I would definitely encourage you to click the link in the comments. Use the code, capital E, lowercase RY1, to get a 15% discount off of the coldest water bottles. So super excited about what she's been up to, and also really excited to share with you guys what has been happening lately. Now, you know, this month is all about writing the vision, and our conversations have been centered around this idea of writing. And I must say that it is a very personal topic for me. Now, those of you who subscribe to the Just Kim newsletter know about this already. I gave you all a sneak peek of the cover of the new book that I've been telling you about that is coming out. I've been telling you it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Well, by God's grace, it's finally here. Today, I am so thankful to share that the book is indeed now available. Of course, it's called Trust the Process, How Writing Can Help You Get Unstuck. And it is officially now available on Amazon, both the paperback and the ebook. So, yay! It's finally done. And of course, I will keep my promise. I have mentioned to you all over the past couple of weeks that I would make it available free of charge, and it will be free for a limited time. Some of you have already signed up to get the notification, and I will be sending that link personally to your inbox. Thank you so much for your willingness to take a look at the book and even write up a review. And it will be available free of charge. The ebook will be available free of charge beginning tomorrow through Tuesday. So you definitely want to take advantage of that right away while it's available free. If you want the hard copy, though, the paperback is available too. And so you can click that link to get it. As I said, this theme, Write the Vision, is a personal one indeed. And the book, in case you're interested or curious, it is not a book solely for those who consider themselves to be writers. And that sometimes is what we assume because of the title, of course, how writing can get you unstuck. What I'm trying to make the case for in this book actually is that if you're a writer, there's a way to use writing to get unstuck. But even if you're not a writer, if God has put something in your heart, there's a desire that you have maybe to do something new or different or step outside of your comfort zone, you may feel stuck or in some way unable to do that. And I want to show you that you can use writing to help you get past that thing that you may be stuck, where you may be stuck. So give it a chance, take a look at it, see what you think, and I'd love to get your feedback as well. So say hello in the comments if you're here. Glad that you have joined us today. It's going to be a great show. I must say that the process of completing this book for me has been both the effort in the literal writing as well as the mental work that it took for me also to get over those feelings of doubt. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that. Hey, Kieta, so glad to have you here. Hi, Julia. I'm glad you're joining us. I see you there. So, yeah, I feel like, as I said, I can definitely personally relate to our theme in multiple ways. And just getting this book out into the world has been such a huge, huge thing for me. It's a small book. It's not a huge, it's not, I'm not Stephen King or one of these awesome, authors or what have you, but it was just the getting over that hump. And it was the writing this book was the literal getting over that hump. And I'm sure each of you could probably relate in some way to something that you really wanted to do and just for whatever reason couldn't get over that hump. And ironically, I met today's guest while in the valley of uncertainty myself. She doesn't know this, but she was one of the persons who contributed to my movement in the right direction. And I'm so thankful that our paths crossed. My guest today is Kat Lee. And she is passionate about teaching others how to jumpstart each day with grace-filled, life-giving morning routine. She is the author of Hello Mornings, published by Thomas Nelson, a speaker, podcaster, and the founder of HelloMornings.org. She and her husband, Jimmy, live in Waco, Texas, with their 3 children. And I'm thrilled to welcome Kat Lee to Hey Girl. Hey girl. Uh-oh. Are we muted? Is she muted? Okay. There you are. I hear you now.
Okay, good. I just want to say congratulations on that book. That's amazing. And I've actually been thinking so much about lately, the power of writing and journaling to kind of unleash our processes, to unleash things that are holding us back and the obstacles and all that sort of stuff. So I can't wait to read it. Good job.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. So like I told them, you don't know this, but when we met at the Sister Circle retreat, I was in that valley, I was just like not sure what I was doing, whether I should be doing it, blah, blah, blah. And it's funny, I actually avoided going to your Hello Mornings workshops. I was like, oh, I'm not a morning person. I'm not doing that. But I think you gave, I don't know if it was 2 different workshops, but I remember one of them was about that, it was for writers. And it was that whole, how to plot your time and use it wisely and that. And it was just so helpful. It was so helpful, really.
I'm so glad. I think that's definitely one of my passions, is figuring out simple things that can help people to continually move forward. Because, I've been thinking a lot about just life or business, or I'm very into sports. And I think that probably the most powerful attribute a person can have in moving forward is just consistency. So if I can give people rules to continually just take simple steps forward, if you are consistent and focused, you can run a marathon, you can do a triathlon, you can do an Ironman, you can do anything if you're just consistent and focused. So
it seems so simple. Yeah, it seems so simple, but sometimes it's the simple things that make the biggest difference.
Well, and I think we also often want a magic bullet that's going to automatically take us to level 10. And so when we're just plodding along like the tortoise, then we're looking around, how can I go faster like the hare? When in reality, it's the tortoise is the only one that gets to the finish line, So
that is so true. Yeah, for sure. I have another picture that I had shared. It was at the Sister Circle also. Some of you may remember my friend Kendra Phillips. She was helping out on the show as well as one of our hosts. I just wanted to flash that really quick. She also had a great picture with you. I had others. I didn't have time to upload them all, but it was a great weekend. We all connected and learned a lot and met each other. And that retreat itself was so life-giving in so many ways because of the connections that I made there and the friends that I still have, Kendra being one of them from that weekend. So thank you for being there and sharing what you shared and offering us those tips to get over the hump. And you're right, it is just that simple, putting one foot in front of the other. My curiosity, though, here's my question for you.
Okay.
When we think about this theme of write the vision, how do you see that? Like, what does that mean to you personally when you hear that phrase, write the vision?
So, obviously I have done this for a long time, but I actually have a file in my notes app on my phone that I call my map. It's my morning anchor plan. And so pretty much every morning I will open up that note. And in that note, I have 4 areas: faith, focus, family, and fitness. I kind of like alliteration. And then I have just my vision for each one of those areas. And so I just wake up and I will read what I've previously decided when I was doing well, when I was, excited about life. Those are the visions that I wrote for myself. And when I wake up in the morning and I'm tired and I don't feel like pursuing, healthy choices, or I don't feel like being nice to my family, then I read that and I just remind myself of where I'm going. It's kind of like, in every football movie, when the football team leaves the halftime meeting, talk, whatever you call it, and they walk out and they like slap the sign that's above the door, the phrase that they have as a team. They just remember what the vision is. And I think if we keep that vision before us, and I read it every morning, whether I feel like it or not, it just reminds me of who I wanted to be when I was optimistic and feeling good. And it helps me to pursue that even when I'm tired and I'm not feeling it. It's almost like my future self, like cheering me on, saying, "Hey, you can do this. I really believe in you, and this is where we're headed, and it's possible. And you might be frustrated right now, or you might be tired, but let's keep going." So it's almost like having my little future cheerleader cheering me on as I read the vision that I have for myself. So I think it's so powerful to write it down and not just keep it in our head, but to verbalize it and put it in a place where we can remind ourselves of who we want to be and who we feel like God wants us to be. Because I think it's also possible to wake up in the morning and open Instagram and get all these visions of who we think we should be in that moment. When in reality, if we had maybe taken a personal retreat and spent some time with Jesus and asked him, "Who do you want me to be? What are you calling me to?" And we write that down, then on those mornings when we're distracted by social media and what the world tells us we should be, we can remember what we already talked to Jesus about and what he wants us to be. So I'm all about it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's so true. So can you share with us a period in your life or a point in time when you were having difficulty seeing that vision? I mentioned that when we met, I was going through my valley. Everyone has that time in their life where you're just thinking, "Oh no, this is not working. I'm I'm not doing something right, or I'm just stuck in a rut." Have you experienced that? And can you share a time when you were feeling that?
Honestly, I would say it was at that exact same retreat. I remember that retreat was really pivotal for me. It was so incredibly refreshing. Like, I've been to lots of, I was a speaker and it always felt, not always, but often felt stressful or whatever, but there's just something about that place. It was magical. I absolutely adored it. And I think I was at something of a crossroads, just professionally. I could have really pressed into work and to promoting things or traveling and speaking or doing a lot of different things. But just personally, because of my own journey, was really passionate about my kids and my family and wanting to be certain that if I let any bulb drop, that it was not that one. But it was hard because I had peers that were excelling and doing really cool things. And it felt like I was sort of stalling on the side of the road. Really, that's how it looked. When in reality, I was investing in these relationships with these growing humans that were becoming adults. And at that particular event, I think I was still at a crossroads. We had just different circumstances in our lives that made it a little bit more complicated. And I was just trying to figure out where I wanted to pour my energy. And
Yeah.
so just reminding myself of who God wanted me to be, what he's called me to, what matters to me and what doesn't actually matter to me was very,
Mhm.
very powerful. And that retreat was actually kind of a key place of that for me.
Yeah, yeah, that's good stuff. Wow. It's so interesting. You never know what other people are dealing with. You think you're the only one with problems, with doubts, with difficulties. And so I think that's one of the things that has motivated me to do this show is to say, look at these amazing people that I know and I've met and that are doing great things. They even have had difficulties and hard times, just like you. Like I said, we're all in this together. And I think it's comforting to know that we're not alone in
Yeah.
those times. But you have had some great successes also, and I'd love for you to share a little bit about Hello Mornings. You wrote that book. Talk about what the writing of that book was like and how it came to be.
Yeah. So Hello Mornings is basically a website and a membership and a community all about helping women build grace-filled and life-giving morning routines. And that's really what that book is about too. There's a lot of practicals in there. I can nerd out on science and just habit formation and neural
Mhm.
pathways and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, that book is also my journey of I grew up. I never knew my mom. She passed away when I was a baby, and I never knew that mother-daughter relationship. And then I became a mom. And in
Mm.
those early days of motherhood, I realized I would wake up and, my kids would be the ones to wake me up. And I just, I'd feel like such a failure at times, getting frustrated with them. But at the same time, this was exactly where I wanted to be. And I would just wake up and be like, Jesus, I need you. If I'm going to do this well, if I'm going to love these kids well, if I'm going to help, walk with you to make them into the people that you want them to be, I can't
Mhm.
do this without you. And so I just realized the importance for me of starting my day with my eyes on God, because my eyes could
Mhm.
get easily distracted and take me in a million different directions. So that's really how Hello Morning started, just out of my own desperation. And
Yeah.
I just, because I did not know what it was like to have a mother, I
Mm.
so desperately wanted to be a great mother, and I had
Yeah.
no idea or point of reference how to do that. So I very much felt the desperation and need
Mhm.
for Jesus every single morning.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have the personal self-discipline to wake up and suddenly get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and have a 2-hour quiet time. So I just had to
Right.
develop these different little systems that would allow me to start a habit and then build a habit and grow it. And then life happens and it gets hard. And instead of
Yeah.
quitting, just scaling it back to what worked in that season in life. And then when life
Mhm.
got a little bit easier, then I could grow it and scale it and just realize that really the growth journey, we often think it's like this, but really like this. It's a bunch of stair
Yeah.
steps that gradually take us
Yeah.
up. And um, so that's really what Hell Mornings is about understanding, that God has a purpose for each one of us. And the only way we're
Yeah.
going to do that is by connecting with Him day by day.
Yeah.
And I think I'm also just very passionate about, especially in the beginning, I spoke mostly to moms. And I often
Mhm.
heard people describe themselves, well, I'm just a mom. And so I was
Mm.
very passionate about making sure that women understood, really everyone, but particularly I was speaking to women, women
Yeah.
understood just that they could literally go to the grocery store that day and maybe have, God be like, I think you need to encourage that person there. Or they could go to the park
Mhm.
and God could prompt them to go meet some lady there. And they have the ability, if they're walking with God, to
Mhm.
impact somebody's life and maybe give them an encouragement that saves their life or saves their marriage or saves their kid. And
Mhm.
the book is a lot about just imparting that vision that you have no idea how impactful your life is. You have no idea
Mhm.
how much of a difference you can make in somebody's life right now, just stepping outside your
Mhm.
door, going to the store, smiling at someone. And
Yeah.
if I can help women to walk with God, maybe some woman reading the book will be a woman who encourages my kid and makes a difference
Yeah.
in their life. So the book is not, it's, morning routines, but it's not just about that. It's about having a morning routine so that you can walk with God into the greater purposes that he has for your life, because there's so much bigger and more spectacular than you could imagine. That doesn't mean like glory and fame, but that means impact and legacy that you probably don't even realize. So
Yeah.
I'm passionate definitely about that, and just giving
Yeah.
people vision for their lives and for their mornings. So
Yeah, it's such a great book. Of course, I have my copy here, and I have been blessed by it, and it's an easy read, and it's very practical. It's very much you. It's simple, it's practical, it's relevant, all the things. One of the stories, though, I guess it's one of the beginning things that you start with, that you shared at the retreat also, I'd love for you to share, is you talk about your science side, your nerdiness about science, and the uniqueness of each one of us. I think that illustration that you gave is really, really powerful. I'd love for you to share that.
Yeah. So ironic. So I'm actually at a hotel and I don't have my book in front of me right now. So I might get some of the numbers slightly wrong.
Right.
But if you
let me go to the
familiar,
page, I can help you out.
Okay. Yeah. There we go. So there's a like personal inventory survey called Strengths Finders, and there are 34 different strengths that any person can have. So if you go to Gallup, like if you've heard of Gallup polls, they're the people that do Strengths Finders. So literally they've interviewed millions of people around the world, and they've all this information accumulated determined that there's 34 strengths that people have. And so I went to a meeting where this guy shared that the odds of anyone, and the order that you have those strengths in kind of impact how you approach the world. And so the odds of anyone having the same top 5 strengths as you is like 1 in 275,000, something like that. So the odds of anybody having the same top 5 strengths as you, like I live in Waco, so that's pretty much the population of Waco. There's maybe one other person in Waco that has the same top 5 strengths or the same outlook on life as me. The odds of anyone having the top 10 strengths or the top 5 strengths all in a row is like 1 in 33.3 million. So the odds of anybody in Texas having the same top 5 strengths in the same order as me, there's maybe one other person. Actually, I don't know what the population of Texas is. There's probably not even, it'd probably be a couple states at that point. So then the odds of anybody having all 34 strengths in the same order is 1 in 3 times 10 to the 34th power. What remind me of that number?
Right. Okay. Here it is. The odds of anyone having all 34 in the same order as you is 1 in 3 times 10 to the 38th power.
To the 38th power.
That means 3 times the number that has 38 zeros behind it. I didn't even know a name for a number that big. Let's call it a schmoozle.
I call it a schmoozle. I've actually learned that there is a name for it, and it would be 3 undecillion, which is a really boring name. So I prefer schmoozle.
Schmoozle's way cuter.
Way cuter. But the cool thing is that I got even nerdier. And so I did a little research, and I realized that according to the Population Research Bureau, there have ever been, can you actually look at the number? I'm throwing it out there. There have only ever been
100 billion people on the earth.
Okay, yeah, there's only been 100 billion people on the earth. And then scientists like generally believe that we're like maybe at about our half-life of Earth being able to, biologically sustain life. It's not a statement on the return of Christ or anything like that. Just science, for example purposes.
Yeah.
So the odds of anybody. And then if you just throw in population inflation, like for all time, maybe in the entire history of planet Earth, maybe there'll be 1 trillion people, and that's like max. And 1 trillion has 9 zeros. And a schmoozle has 38. So it's basically this tiny fraction. And you might be like having all the numbers going around your head. But what I want people to know from that is that, from the beginning of time until the end of time, there never has been and there never will be anyone like you. And God has given you a storyline in his like great epic of human history. And he says, I want you exactly the way you are. And you're integral to the entire story of human history and the people that you're going to impact and the way that you're going to walk in this world is powerful and we need you. And that inspires me to help women wake up and meet with Jesus, because he created this intricate billions of people, and he very specifically to impact it. You know, we were created in our mother's womb, and he knows us, and he has plans and purposes for us. And I think we hear those things, but we don't
Yeah.
always believe that they're true every single day, in every single moment, in the mundaneness of going to the grocery store, and the boringness of going to a job that we don't like. We forget that we are a part of this great epic, and God has a specific purpose for us in it. And whether our role seems glorious or not, he needs us. God doesn't need us, but he wants us to be part of the story, and we need each other to be walking with him so that we can play the part that he made for us to play.
Yeah. So that gets me every time.
I'm glad my nerdiness can
mean,
be inspiring.
oh my gosh. Like I was sitting in that workshop and I was just boo-hooing. Okay. I was like, oh my gosh, I matter. I matter. It's so
Yes.
powerful. And my cousin Lisa's up there. Hey Lisa, this is for all the math nerds. Hey Ton, to put it in numbers, to quantify it that way, it just really hits home. Like you said, we hear it all the time. It's kind of abstract. Yeah, we matter. We're special, but to quantify it like that, just, whoo, yeah, like it's so effective.
I like to tell a story with it about how my daughter had recently gotten her driver's license, and she was at this shopping center where it's on the curve as you exit a highway, the one in the black tank top. Her name's Anne. She was driving out of this shopping center, and it's on this curve, and she was about to turn, and then all of a sudden she heard this man screaming, "Don't go, don't go." And so she didn't. And being a new driver, she hadn't fully estimated how fast this other car was coming. It was like totally speeding, screaming around the corner. If she had turned, it would have T-boned her, and I don't want to think about what would have happened to her.
Wow.
So the man that yelled at was standing on the corner of that street with a sign that says, "We buy gold." Now, in the hierarchy of, Waco businessmen, he might not think that he is very high. He might think, oh, well, the owner of this gold store has all the money and all the importance and all the value. But he just saved my daughter's life. And if he didn't have the authority within himself and the confidence within himself to yell at her and to say, I play a part in this, she might not be here today. And he may have thought himself small or insignificant, but God placed him there to save my daughter's life. And I think we don't always think about, we might think that, look at our circumstances, but we need to look at, the greater role that God's given us. And maybe we're undercover. Maybe we're not supposed to have glory or fame, but we still have a huge impact on people's lives, whether we know it or not.
Wow. That's a word right there.
Yeah.
Mercy.
So really just, anybody watching, whoever you are, all of you that are with us today or watching the replay, whatever you do in your day-to-day and however you spend your time, whenever you think that it is insignificant, I hope that you will remember that it is very much not, because God's placed you there. And there's a purpose for it that you may see or you may not see. You may never see the reward for what you've done. You may never see the result. Maybe it's going to come 20 years down the road because you were a teacher and you told some little kid that they could write, and they didn't act on that until 20 years later, and you never even found out. But maybe that book changed somebody's life or saved somebody's life or led people to Jesus. So don't let whatever your current circumstances are determine, your worth, because God has said that you are so worthwhile, and he's given you this place out of all of human history and given you this role. And so don't devalue it because he doesn't. So just be encouraged.
Yeah, that's so good. Tanya said that's powerful. Julia says very powerful. Kieta says, wow, chills. Everybody's saying, wow, amazing. It's so true. And I think it's so important to repeat that and to remind each other of that, because it is easy to assume that what I'm doing doesn't matter, or it's not making a difference, and I don't matter. And I know when I'm hearing those kinds of voices in my head, I know that's not coming from God, and so we have to push back against those negative thoughts and voice in our head because it's not of God. And the enemy only wants to shut that down. He doesn't want that guy on the corner with the "We Buy Gold" sign to think he matters.
Yeah.
And if he can convince him he doesn't, he won't do that very thing that maybe he was called and purposed to do, even if it's
Mhm.
as simple as yelling to your daughter
Mhm.
not to turn.
Mhm.
So that's such a powerful lesson, and so important to repeat to ourselves and to one another,
Mhm.
for
It's
sure.
important, honestly, for me to even repeat. Like, it inspires
Yeah,
me again to share,
yeah,
even though I wrote it and I've shared
yeah,
it often. Every time I do, I'm just reminded of the truth of it. And I just become
yeah.
that much more impassioned to help women, and really anyone, but specifically women, to believe it and to really own it and to walk into each day like they really believe it. Because I think that will change the way that we live our lives.
Yeah, indeed. So what are you doing now? What is current or upcoming with Hello
Mhm.
Mornings? Are you adding anything, or is there anything in particular that's happening in 2022 that we should know about? Again, we want to make sure everyone visits the website, buy the book. It's like I said, it could be the very thing you need for this beginning of the year to get your day and your year off to a good start. But let the people know what else you have to offer through Hello Mornings.
Yeah, so we have a community. It's called Hello Mornings Academy, where we have several different courses in there. We have one called the Hello Mornings Boot Camp, and it's just a 30-day audio journey that takes people through the process of building a morning routine. I definitely encourage everybody to go check out that workshop that's kind of on the screen right now. It's just a free workshop that'll teach you about our 3-minute morning. Can I just run through that real quick right now? Because I really want everybody to leave with this super
Yeah,
practical tool. So the 3-minute
absolutely.
morning is basically, like, at Hello Mornings, we're passionate about helping women have God time, plan time, and move time every single morning. Now, I know initially you probably think, okay, well, that means I need to read the Bible for an hour. It means I need to, go through my getting things done system for 30 minutes. And it means I need to, do a HIIT workout for 30 minutes. So that's 2 hours plus a shower. How can I do God time, plan time, and move time every morning? So basically,
Right.
we've boiled it down to something that you can literally do. So here's the beautiful thing. You can hit your snooze button and have your morning routine and then get out of bed. So the 3-minute morning
Mm,
is basically, the first part is God time, and that's just praying through Psalm 143:8. You can use any verse. There's nothing magical about this verse. It says, "Let the morning bring me word of your unfailing love. Show me the way I should go, for I put my trust in you." So it's just a great verse to just really pray from your heart, so that you can get in the right mindset of saying, God, I want whatever you want today. I want you to lead me and guide me today. So that's the first minute, to pray through that
mhm.
verse and then just pray for the rest of the minute. And that's your God time. Then your plan time is just to take 1 minute to look at your calendar for the day. So often we just dive into the day and then we're like, oh, I forgot I had something, because I never looked at my calendar.
Mhm.
So just
Yeah.
taking 1 minute to look at your calendar. And then move time is taking 10 deep breaths. Something we definitely don't do enough is we don't give ourselves space.
Mhm.
We fill it with our phones, we fill it with TV, we fill
Yeah.
it with all kinds of stuff. But there's just physiologically something to pause, taking deep, full breaths,
Yeah.
exhaling. Uh, and with at these 3 minutes, you can fill them with whatever you want. It could be praying Psalm 23. It could be writing a to-do list. It could be
Mhm.
drinking a glass of water. But the idea is, if we can build these tiny habits, then we can
Mhm.
grow. Then we have something to build on top of. There's a professor named BJ Fogg at Stanford, and he's developed a thing called tiny habits. And the idea is, if you can do a small thing, it's more powerful than doing a big thing for a short period of time.
Mhm.
So if he has somebody that wants to floss their teeth, he'll say, okay, just floss one tooth. And it seems ridiculous to just floss one tooth every night. But at the same time, you're never going to say, I'm too tired, or I don't have time, or I just can't do it. It's so easy, you can't not do it. And so,
Right.
this is like scientifically proven from a doctor from Stanford. The idea of doing something so small that you can't not do it. And that's what the 3-minute
Yeah.
morning is. You can get your God time, your plan time, and your move time. And then as soon as that's done, if you want to dive into a 30-minute Bible study and a planning session and a workout, go for it. But you
Yeah.
have the basic habit that you can do day in and day out, when you're sick, when you're healthy, when you're traveling, when it's busy, when it's slow. You can have this core foundation of a 3-minute routine that connects you to Jesus, helps you, walk out the purposes that he has for you, and gives you the energy to follow where he
Yeah.
leads: God time, plan time, and move time. So So we're really passionate about that. So the Hello Mornings Academy is basically a community where we help women grow in those three areas: spending time with God, planning their day, and having vision, and making healthy choices. So yeah, and we've been we're trying to ramp up the podcast again. I hadn't been doing it kind of over the COVID season and all of that, but we have a podcast that we've had for many years, and we're bringing that back up. And I just did a interview with an Olympic gold medalist that I'm a huge fan of, named Laura Wilkinson. So that was pretty fun. But yeah.
Cool. I was listening to the podcast the other day. You were doing the Advent readings on
Yes.
there. And I just had it, I got in the car and my phone automatically connected and it was just playing, I guess, whatever the last episode was I was listening to. And then all of a sudden I heard your voice, but I heard some words that were familiar and I was like, huh. And I was driving and I was trying to get to my appointment or whatever. And I turned it up a little bit and I was like, wait a minute. I I wrote that. So I have the privilege of occasionally being able to contribute to the blog on the
Yes.
Hello Morning site. And I guess you were reading from that article about journaling and using writing to do your God time. And it was so cool. I was like, oh man, she makes it sound good. I just happened to be listening. Yeah, it was so funny. But
That's funny.
so yeah, you guys can also check out the blog and the podcast where there's content all the time, new content that will keep you moving through those three areas. So, and occasionally you might see my name pop up on there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you haven't checked out her most recent one, definitely go do that because it was a really good blog post. You can listen to it on the podcast and hear the words, or you can go and read her words. But it was very good. Highly recommend.
Thank you. That was a nice little surprise. I appreciate that. I appreciate you letting me be part of the team and working with you guys. Christy Raven,
Yes.
is it?
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that I've been communicating with. She manages the blog for you, and
She's
that's
amazing.
been good.
Yeah.
It's great, yeah. And what it does for us writers is it keeps us. It gives me a deadline. It forces me to stay on that track because I'll easily fall off. But it's like, oh, I got this deadline for Hello Morning, so it's been good to have that opportunity to write. Also,
well, it's been a huge blessing for us, and just the content that you guys create is amazing. So what a blessing it is for our whole community.
Yes, indeed. I've enjoyed it as well, reading others' entries as well. So I'm just happy to be a part of this bigger thing. Like you said, it's the little things. You're the small part, but everyone matters. And when we pull it all together, it can really be amazing. So
absolutely.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, this has been an awesome conversation. I'm so glad to know you again. I think that Sister Circle retreat was a blessing for all of us. It brought so many together around a common theme and purpose. And I think it has had ripple effects throughout all of our lives in many ways. And I hope that you all will check out the book, the podcast, the blog, start your own 3-minute routine, 3-minute morning. Last week we were talking about the whole breathing thing. And that is another one of those things that's so simple, but yet so powerful. We had another guest on who was walking us through how to, do the in one nostril and out the other. And it just, if you make that part of your morning, it can really rejuvenate you physically. And then of course, incorporating the scripture and the whole thing, it's so simple, but there's no reason not to do it. And I guess that's exactly the point. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. And we are actually going to go to our scripture, which Kat just said for us, and we will put it on the screen for you. Write this down, ladies, and recite it each morning. Psalm 143:8 says, "Let the morning bring me word of your unfailing love, for I've put my trust in you. Show me the way I should go, for to you I entrust my life." It's such a simple verse. It's such a simple prayer. But if you incorporate it into your day-to-day, if you believe that God has a plan and a purpose for you, And if you accept that wherever you are and in whatever role or capacity you are in, you can and will be a blessing to others and possibly impact lives in ways that you can never imagine, then you have the ability to get unstuck and to have an awesome 2022. Regardless of what you've been through, regardless of what you're going through, God has something amazing for you, and it's just for you to claim it. So that's what this month is all about, guys. It's about believing that and walking in that, writing the vision, and reminding yourself who you are and whose you are. So I hope that today's show has been a blessing to you. I hope that you will check out The Coldest Water, make this part of your morning routine. Go check out Trust the Process. Get your copy, whether the ebook or the paperback. And be sure to join us next week. We'll have Elaine Kennedy here to talk to us about her organization, which is My Vision is Clear. We're going to continue this conversation about keeping our purpose ahead of us, in front of us, like that North Star that we can go after. In the meantime, have a fantastic week. Remember to claim your free ebook before Tuesday, and I'll be here next week again to continue encouraging you to live your best life. God bless. See you next time.
Happy New Year! Are you ready to write the vision? Be sure to join me all month as my guests, Toya Poplar, Kat Lee, Elaine Kennedy, Claire and Paul Nixon show us how to start the year with clear purpose and vision. Join us Saturdays at 5 on Facebook Live.